You're listening to Orlando Credit Union's On the Money. I'm your host, Kaylee Green, and today we're doing a special segment that I like to call Meet the Community Leaders. And today we're talking to the Executive Director of the SoDo Main Street District, Misty Heath. Hi, Misty.
Hi.
How are you today?
I am great. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so honored to be here.
I know, and I'm so glad that you're here because I feel like you're such a pivotal part of the community and everything that you're doing for, the SoDo district. So I am excited to get into talking a little bit about what you do and the events in the community. So if you're ready, I think we can just dive right in.
I look forward to it. And first, thank you for that. That's a major compliment. I am honored that you would think that way. And I'm happy to be here and to talk with you a little bit more.
Of course. So for anybody who maybe either doesn't know who you are and what you do or isn't local to Orlando, explain what the SoDo Main Street District is.
Sure. So the SoDo Main Street District is a program. It's a 501c3 nonprofit that serves a hyper-local area of downtown Orlando, which is called SoDo, which stands for South of Downtown Orlando Main Street District. We are connected to the Main Street America National Framework, so there are thousands of programs across the country, but Orlando is slightly unique in that we are more of an urban Main Street setting, meaning a lot of communities know about like Main Street in like a small town where there's like, Hallmark movie-esque kinds of situations. In Orlando, it looks slightly different. We're one of the first original main streets in Orlando, and Orlando has 12 main streets, but we're one of the first 4. We've been in existence for 16 years, and our goal is to help drive revitalization within our area, trying to create opportunities for people to feel connected to the place that they live, that they work, and really try to help drive it as an economic hub for not just our small little area, but for all of Orlando and the region.
Yeah, and I think it's so important what you're doing because there are so many places that people might not even know about, know? I feel like you are just living your day to day, going to your job, going to the gym, going home, and then that's it. But there are so many ways that you can feel connected and integrate yourself into your community, and people might just not know what's out there. So I think that's where you guys come in to really show exactly what people might be missing out on.
Yeah, we want people to feel connected to their community. We know that people who like where they live, enjoy where they work, know what gyms exist that appeal to their interests. We know that they are happier, that they spend more, that they likely will make more. They have greater earning potential. So creative placemaking within a community that ties people together and to one another is a way that can be transformative. And in Orlando is a town that I grew up in. And I will tell you, growing up as a child, downtown Orlando would have never been a place that I wanted to live. I was happy commuting into downtown. My family worked in development, but I would have never thought like downtown Orlando would be the place I want to live and call home. And it's exciting to see now, nearly 20 years later, since this initiative and others has started, how much of a hub of living and working in downtown is, and seeing kind of the 15-minute city where people have everything they need within 15 minutes comes to life. And in SoDo, we definitely have that.
Yeah. And something you said that was interesting to me was, we want to help people maybe find a gym where they're interested in something. And it makes me think of you just find a big gym, you sign up for your membership, and then that's it. But there are so many local places that focus on things that you would actually be interested in that are owned by local people.
Right.
And I think that's the coolest part of this is you don't have to just, stop at the big coffee shop, go to the big gym. Like there are those local places.
And in SoDo, I think our community has the best of all of it. We've got independently owned, small mom and pop kinds of things. We have more franchise-driven things that people know and trust, but are often locally run. Yeah. And so they still have local owners, so they still feel like a small business. Yeah. And then we have all the other conveniences that anyone could want in a community. We have a grocery store in every corner. Yep. We have a major hospital in our area. We have tons of lovely financial institutions where people can go and make sure that their money is being well taken care of. So our tiny little community is a major hub. And I mean, I live a mile from where my office is, and I rarely leave my little bubble.
Yeah, you don't even have to.
You don't have to,
which is a nice thing.
Yeah.
So explain to all of our listeners what your role is here. Obviously, you are very much immersed in the community. You have a lot of experience. What do you do?
So day to day, it varies. Trying to describe what my job is a really weird thing, because one day I could be helping getting sandbags out to the community because we have a hurricane coming.
Yep.
Really not very glamorous, to doing things like this. So my job is day to day to really make sure that I'm positioning our district to do as well as it can, attracting new business owners. So if we have a space that's open, having a bit of an inventory of people looking to open new businesses, because no one benefits from empty storefronts, helping connect prospective businesses to city resources to help them get open faster, or maybe with some financial support, to hosting things that allow our business owners and residents to connect with one another so they understand what's happening in the community. We do a lot of advocacy around things that are like construction that affect the community. Again, not necessarily the most exciting, but we know that construction, hurricanes, all those kinds of things affect not just residents, but affect how businesses can thrive and survive. And so we do a lot of intervention. One of the weird things in my charter for our organization, when we were started as a 501c3, one of the lines that always sticks out to me is it says, "We're here to ease the burden of government." And that's such a weird saying.
Yeah.
It's such a weird way to look at it. But day to day, what that looks like is, if we're having a business that's coming in and they're trying to get open, how can we help them with permitting? How can we help them get to this? We are there to kind of be someone's hotline to helping them resolve issues. If a refrigerator goes out, how can we help them find an electrician? Can we find a place for them to possibly store their goods so they don't have spoilage? They need new employees. How can we help them post jobs? So we're here to kind of be a community plug.
Yeah. And I think that, having that mindset of we are going to jump in wherever needed is such a pivotal thing to have as a community leader. That's why we wanted to feature you, is because you have that mindset of, we're doing whatever we need to make sure that communities are thriving in the SoDo district. So, of course, you had a role before this. Yeah. What was your role before, and how did it bring you into this executive director role?
So my background is I have a master's in education, and I used to work as an administrator at colleges and universities.
Okay.
And oddly enough, when 9/11 happened, we experienced universities losing positions or positions being put on hold for a little while. So I was in my career loving it, and then needing to progress, and didn't have an opportunity because jobs were kind of on lockdown for a little while. So I was recruited by so many executive MBA students that I was working with at the university I was with at the time to go and work at finance companies. So I actually have a background more in finance, and I worked in banking for 10 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So I worked in residential real estate for many years. And then about hitting that mid-cycle, not mid-year, but more midlife kind of, once I'd hit a decade, I was like, is this what I'm going to do for the rest of my life? And while it was fulfilling and I got to learn a lot, I didn't necessarily feel like I was touching customers or touching people, or I couldn't identify that I was making a significant difference in people's lives. And I also got homesick, and I'm from here. My entire family is here. And so I hit a point where I was like, I think I need to move on, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And so I sold my house, packed up my things, brought me and my dog here, dropped my dog off with my parents, and I traveled to Asia for 6 months.
Wow.
So I did that whole eat, pray, love thing that people love to talk about doing. And then I kind of settled into a place where I wanted to do roles and positions that were not necessarily safe, but that would make a difference in my community. And so little by little, I worked in a small media group here in town. I did a lot of of work with local restaurants and food. And then one of my clients happened to be a lot of my clients were the main streets in downtown. And my predecessor was retiring. And she said, I think you should do this. I think you should apply, throw your hat in the ring. And I did. And so I've been here for about 3.5 years.
Wow, that's such a cool story.
Thank you.
I feel like my next question is going to be about what makes you passionate about working in this job. But I feel like you kind of just answered that in explaining how you really took a minute, stepped back, thought about exactly what was going to fulfill you in life, and then you pursued that.
Well, and it's also fun to see, again, growing up in Orlando and seeing the projection that the Orlando was not a place that was it was a destination, but it was not a place where people were like invested in their hometown. And coming back to Orlando and residing here, it's exciting to see the evolution of people being proud of living in Orlando, people being proud of where they're from, people being engaged into their community. And of course, we love the theme parks. We love what our attractions bring to this area.
Yeah.
I also, though, love that there is a focus on small business. There is a focus on arts. There is a focus on little gems that you wouldn't know that are off the beaten path unless someone told you about it. And Orlando has grown up in that way and will continue to do that. So I love being a part of it. Also, my family worked in development. My grandfather was a developer. And so many of the downtown high rises and businesses, the structure, like there's a architectural structure in front of City Hall in Orlando that our family didn't design. But we installed it. And so I get to see the hands of my grandfather and family members in downtown. And so it's exciting. And he would laugh at me because he used to get me to try to come into the family business. And he would laugh if he knew that I now am working adjacent to what it was that he was building all those years.
I love that. And that almost kind of reminds me of my own story of how I, have been impacted by Orlando because I grew up in South Florida, went to Disney all the time, had annual passes. And then I went to college in Lakeland, where I was only about 45 minutes from here. So my friends and I started researching cool coffee shops to visit. And, that brought us to Orlando because there are so many unique places like that here. And it opened up this whole different world for me of what Orlando had to offer.
Yeah. We have our Visit Orlando friends who have started a campaign calling Orlando being unbelievably real. And I think it's so smart and it's so true. There are so many hidden gems in and around downtown. You just have to look for them, but they're right there. And now I think not just Orlando, but many people outside of Orlando, it's catching on through our Michelin, and our food and beverage evolving, our arts and culture, our cultural tourism. The parks are there, they're great, but we also have a lot more really cool stuff going on too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So you're obviously doing so many different events as well. So you've had a hand in these events. They've impacted the community. What have some of your favorites been? And do you have any specific stories of ways that the community has been impacted?
Yeah. So I'm not going to call this an event per se, but one initiative that we worked on coming out of COVID was trying to help businesses recover, opening back their storefronts. And one of the really cool stories I can tell you about is that small businesses don't necessarily always have access to HR and tax benefits and tax breaks. And we did a program where we partnered with a community partner to help target businesses that could get employee retention funding back that they thought that they weren't eligible for. And so I worked with about 10 of our local businesses to get back funding that they had paid in payroll that returned over $1 million back to small businesses. And while $1 million may not sound like a huge amount of money for a small business that is, thriving, not thriving, trying to get by, trying to meet payroll, trying to still pay rent, pay their purveyors, getting $30,000 and $40,000 at a time back to them that they could reinvest or get their business more stable has been has been transformative for those folks, getting them to a more stable point. We've also worked with some of our local businesses when they've had, unfortunately, flooding due to like weather issues. And we work with them to try to get funding and support. And while, again, that's not the most like visually exciting or splashy things, those are the things we do to help people day to day.
Yeah.
Things that are a bit more exciting and that would draw people in. We're going to talk about one of it in a minute, but one of the others that two programs that I really, really love is a program that we call SoDo It. And it's a play, it's a pun on SoDo.
Yeah, I like that.
And we are, as you mentioned, an area that has a gym on every corner. If it's not a gym, there's going to be a healthy eating place. There's going to be, we have a hospital. And so we've started doing programming around bringing wellness to the community. So that comes in many forms. We do free community workouts. We'll do massages at different restaurants. We will do music along with a workout. We've done some heart healthy. We've done some how to prepare healthy meals with some of our local chefs. So those are programs that also create people an opportunity to connect, and also businesses an opportunity to collaborate one another. So I'm really proud of that program, and we'll keep doing that going forward. The other one is the United Arts program that you all were kind enough to sponsor for us. United Arts is a great community partner who likes to bring arts into the community and find art in unsuspecting places, but they also prioritize making sure artists are paid for the work that they do. And so we applied for a grant and received a grant where we could activate our business community and put paid artists that we would pay through the grant into spaces. And you all were kind enough to sponsor it, that we could also do small givebacks to the community. And those are things that keep people, it delights guests who want to come in, but that really makes a difference in our local businesses feeling like they're cared about. And maybe they couldn't afford to do that on their own, but through our support, it was something that gave them something meaningful. It increased their employee morale. So I'm really proud of that program, and am excited to continue working with United Arts and more arts programming, because we need that. Especially now, I think everyone needs an opportunity to be connected and to be surprised in a positive way. And also it just evokes a lot of emotion and connection. So
Yeah. There are so many cool initiatives that you guys are working on. So it's really encouraging to hear, especially, I mean, you've talked about the impact of COVID. So many places you'll notice, their doors unfortunately had to close and that reopening didn't happen. But I feel like here we aren't seeing those empty storefronts. So I think that is a testament in itself to just how the community has been impacted positively.
We can say, our local Mayor Dyer, loves to talk about the Orlando Main Street program. And it's not just SoDo. Again, there are 11 others of us that the Main Street program has brought over 14,000 jobs since its inception in 2008 to now. We can quantify over 14,000 jobs in downtown Orlando. We're not talking outside of downtown. We're talking in a couple of mile radius of. That's how many jobs this investment in our main streets through our city partners, but also through our volunteers. And I work with a volunteer board of directors and an extension of me. I'm the only paid staff member too, so it's very grassroots.
That is very, very cool to hear. Well, Orlando Credit Union is a sponsor of an event, Light Up SoDo 2024, and we are thrilled to be a part of it. So for our listeners, explain what Light Up SoDo is and what you're looking forward to for this event.
Yeah, Light Up SoDo is just it's a traditional holiday event. This year will be our 10th year. So it started in 2014, and this will be our 10th birthday. So we're in double digits now. Yeah. It's a big milestone. And it's a holiday event where people can come out. It's free. It's family friendly. People can bring their pets. It's an opportunity to get, photos with Santa, or pet photos with Santa, as we see a lot. Local performers. We bring local arts in. We have an artisans market. So for small entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs who may not have a storefront. Maybe they have an Etsy store or something like that. This is also an opportunity for them to bring their goods out. Food trucks. This is our opportunity to have like a small hallmark moment in our community that is a little bit more industrial and urban. But we shut down an entire shopping center. We have little surprises embedded in, and people come year over year and like meet up, and we look forward to having it every year. So we also see that the businesses, it's in a shopping center, and we activate an entire shopping center.
Wow.
Those businesses beg us to bring it back. In fact, they want us to do more of them. And I'm like, oh, too soon, not ready yet. But we know that for many of them, that's their best day of the year. And so it not only is an opportunity to drive people into our community and enjoy a nice time together, but we also know that it does make an economic impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thank you for being our sponsor. Without generous sponsors like y'all, we wouldn't be able to make it happen.
Of course. And it's so important to really bring those people in and show them the community and have events like this. So, of course, you have this event and you've had events all throughout 2024. What are you looking forward to in the future in 2025?
In 2025, one of the things that we're looking forward to is we were lucky enough to be part of a federal grant where we're going to be bringing some large scale murals to our community. So we're going to be investing in some public art and some significant investments through this federal funding, which is very exciting. So we'll start to see some new, and we'll probably do a festival around it where we're going to install probably 2 or 3 large murals in the district and then some smaller activations throughout. So that's really exciting.
Very cool.
So we'll be doing calls for artists and selection committees and looking at all these opportunities for beautifying our space. So that's really exciting. We're going to be continuing our wellness programming through the SoDo program. And, we're also excited because most of our construction is going to clear out of our area. And so that gives us even more opportunity to then be able to highlight other areas of the district that may not have been evident over the last few years because we've had all of that going on plus COVID. It's an opportunity for us to keep building on beautifying the space while also making it more functional. So, and who knows what else? I'm sure my board will come up with some amazing other opportunities as well to keep me busy.
Absolutely. So tell listeners where they can go to learn more about future projects, past projects, all things SoDo Main Street.
I think the easiest way to engage with us is through our social media channels. I think everyone else would say that too. So you can find us at our handle SoDo District. Anytime anyone wants to, if they message us, if they DM us directly, it's usually me that will be responding. It'll probably be me. Our website is also a great place to go, sododistrict.org. The City of Orlando website has anything about all the main streets in downtown Orlando. So if they want to know more about another community that's adjacent to us, I can always link them to that. But or even the National Main Street America, if you're looking for something in your own community, if it exists in your own community, not necessarily in Orlando, that's also a great resource to look for.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Misty. I have loved having the opportunity to talk with you today and learn a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Of course. To learn more about how Orlando Credit Union is partnering with organizations like this one, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Orlando CU for you, or visit us on our website at orlandocreditunion.org. Until next time, we're investing in you. Orlando Credit Union is providing this podcast as a public service. The information provided is neither a legal interpretation nor a statement of Orlando Credit Union policy. Reference to any specific product does not constitute an endorsement or recommendation by the credit union. Views and opinions expressed by Orlando Credit Union employees are those of the employees and do not necessarily reflect the views of the credit union or any of its officers. Orlando Credit Union is not providing any financial, economic, legal, accounting, or tax advice or recommendations in this podcast.